What's up, guys? How's it going? It's John, Gamester81. This video, I wanted to review the new recently released Nintendo Mini Family Computer, also better known as the Famicom. And this was only released in Japan as the Famicom was. It came out during the same time as the Nintendo Mini NES Classic was released. That just came out. Those, as most of you guys are aware, are extremely hard to find as of filming this video and as of releasing this video. It's really sought after. That retails for $60 US, and they're going for like $300, $400 on eBay. It's crazy. I don't know how the distribution is on this thing in Japan. I can tell you I paid a premium to buy this and import it from Japan to review for you guys. So that it is what it is, but I definitely wanted to review this system for you because it is similar in some ways to the Mini NES Classic. However, it's different. It does include 30 games, just like the Mini NES Classic. 8 of the games are unique to the Famicom Mini. Basically, some of those games are only exclusive, never came out for the NES, which is interesting. I'll show you those games here in a second, and I'll explain kind of what was different. The box style is very reminiscent to the original Famicom box that you would see in Japan. The only difference is the original Famicom box had a foam bottom with a lid that you basically pull off. Obviously, that's not the case in this particular box. And it does come with 2 controllers now, opposed to only 1 controller, which is one of my big knocks on the Mini NES Classic. It only came with 1 controller, and the controller cord for the Mini NES Classic is extremely short. These cords are like 2 to 3 inches longer, still very, very short. I wish they were actually longer. And the one downside about this thing is, just like staying very true to the Famicom, the original Famicom, the controllers are hardwired into the system, so there's no extensions that you can purchase. So that is kind of a bummer. I just want to give you guys a heads up on that. I'm going to do an unboxing. I'm going to show you an unboxing. We're going to show you some gameplay. Let me know what you guys think of this system. I'm a huge fan of the Famicom. Obviously, if it wasn't for the Famicom, we wouldn't see the NES in other markets. And I think it's really cool that Nintendo, when they released these mini systems, they kind of catered it towards the market they were released in. So if you look at a PAL Mini NES Classic, the box design is very reminiscent to what you'd see in those PAL regions, opposed to like in North America, where we get NTSC, and very, very cool. There is one huge thing about this that I don't really like, and I'll talk about that here in a second later in the video, that I think is a deal breaker for the system, I'll be honest with you. But let's take a closer look. Let's do an unboxing. I'll show you some gameplay. Leave a comment below. Let's check it out. Okay, so I'm going to show you a closer look at the box, and I love the box design. Super cool. It does look just like the Nintendo. Great job making it look like the original Famicom box. Up the back here shows you all the games. I actually prefer the Japanese Famicom box art opposed to like what you see in North America. And I even know that in the PAL regions, the box art's even different somewhat too. So every region had its own style. So some of the games are similar. Of course, you got Pac-Man and Dr. Mario and Kirby and Zelda 1 and 2. You have Donkey Kong, but there are some games missing in this. And they're basically 8 of the games are different. And when I show you the gameplay, I'll kind of go over which games are different in this. A lot of Japanese, of course. Here's, the same image stock that they use on the original Famicom. In the original Famicom box, it says, cartridges sold separately. This basically in Japanese says you can't use any cartridges for the system. And overall, really cool design. I'll show you what it comes with. Obviously, it comes with the system itself. This right here in the original Famicom would come off, and there's a port where you can put like a light gun. This does not come off. So if you're playing an HD TV, you can't use a light gun, and you can't use Rob the Robot. It's just the way the TVs work nowadays. You need an old standard television to do that. So no add-ons, unfortunately. This eject button doesn't work, or the slide here doesn't work. This flap doesn't open up. There's no cartridges. This is the controllers. Super, super small. I'll compare this to a normal size, original Famicom size in a second. And these actually hold on the side like this, and they kind of hold there. If you tip it upside down, they'll fall out, of course. And in the back, the same hookup as you'd see in the Mini NES Classic. You have your DC in, and then you also have your HDMI out. It is plain 720 HDMI, which is nice. All right, we'll compare this to the original Famicom, as I'll show you. It's 60% to scale. So you can kind of see the size difference. This one's yellowed over the years. It's kind of the typical of those. You can kind of see the controller difference. Well, let me grab controller 1. This is controller 1. See how much smaller the controllers are. They're ridiculously small. I have huge hands, but still very small. The cords are a little bit longer, about 2 or 3 inches longer than the NES or Mini NES Classic, but they're still extremely short. In case you guys are wondering, there was a speaker on controller 2. A lot of the games utilize that feature. That is not, that kind of shows you, Famicom 2 shows you kind of speaker area, but there's no slides, volume slide. It is not on here, so basically you can't use the speaker. It does show you kind of where it would be, the mic, so that is definitely a disappointment that the mic doesn't work. But again, I'm not really too surprised, to be honest with you. But overall, you can see just the likeness to the sticker, very, very similar. I think they did a good job with the likeness. It also comes with a USB. This is for the DC. There's no wall outlet. I can't believe that there's no wall adapter for this thing. I guess they figure that most people have cell phones, maybe a USB wall adapter. Fortunately, with my Mini NES Classic, I can use that. This will work on North American TVs. In case you guys are wondering, it won't, like, the power usage is the same. It will work with this. I don't know if this will work on PAL regions. I don't know how that works. I'm assuming it will with the modern TVs. I'm assuming it will work just fine on PAL televisions, on HD TVs. It also comes with HDMI cable, which you obviously need. And it comes with my Nintendo information and some instruction manual. This is very similar to what the original instruction manual looked like, except for the original one was more in red. This is in gray, obviously. And it shows you how to hook it up. Very easy to hook up, HDMI to HDMI on your TV, inputs and outputs. And this is in Japanese, so I will not read that to you because I can't read Japanese, but you guys definitely get the idea. So let's check out some gameplay. I'll check out the menu, and we'll go from there. Here is the menu layout. It is identical to what you'd find on a Mini NES Classic, if you're lucky enough to find one of those. And it's all 30 games. You can list them by, hit select and list them by alphabetical order. You can do it by release date. You can do it by developer, 1 or 2 players. So there's various options as far as categorizing each game. The 8 games that are not included in this version opposed to the Mini NES Classic are Bubble Bobble, Castlevania 2, Donkey Kong Jr., Final Fantasy, Kid Icarus, Star Tropics, Punch-Out!, and Tecmo Bowl. I can understand a few of those choices. I can certainly understand Tecmo Bowl not being here since North American football isn't very big in Japan. I can certainly understand that. Castlevania 2 is a big one. Here is options to change kind of filters. You can do the scan lines. You can do normal without the scan lines. Basically, the difference between the 2 other ones are how wide the screen appears on it. Here's a game. This is kind of a sumo wrestling game. This is one of the 8 games that is not obviously on the Mini Classic NES. And the 3 that you guys may know or are familiar with is Mario Open Golf is on here. There's River City Ransom, which is a great beat 'em up classic, and Solomon's Key is also on here. And there's 5 other ones that, including Final Fantasy 3, are also on here. So they include Final Fantasy 3. They don't include Final Fantasy 1. The other 4 titles are mainly in Japanese, and I would butcher those names, so I apologize. I don't want to butcher them. So here's another example. This is Solomon's Key, actually. This was did come out for the NES, and is a fun game, and certainly one to check out. Overall, the game looks good. I mean, visually it looks great in 720. I do notice this compared to, like, I have an NES HD. There are black borders on the screen, which I don't necessarily get that when I'm playing other HD NES games. Here is Kung Fu. You guys may recognize this. This was ported. I believe this came out for the NES. I'm not sure. I do remember playing this, but I'm terrible at this. Absolutely terrible. Actually, now I think about it, I don't think that did come out. This game, I'm not sure what this is called. Mystery Adventure Start. This is an awful game. I don't know. I hate to be bad on it, but you got birds pooping on you, it looks like. You have this weird firecracker as a weapon that is awful to use because, you don't have no control where it goes. It bounces off things. I have no idea why they included this game in the set because, I don't know, maybe it's a popular game. I don't know. Maybe you guys like it, but you can jump super high. You can duck, but it's just funny. You have birds pooping on you, shitting on you. It's just hilarious. I really don't know the goal of this game. Really, it looks like you're some safari guy, There's a random treasure chest there in the middle of a cornfield, which is awesome. Very, very interesting choice of game. And the music I'm not a fan of. I don't know if it's like a time limit. It's just weird. Here's a second zone. The second zone is different, which I give him kudos for that, but the jump controls are off. We got these shell guys who kind of like the ghosts in Mario Brothers. They kind of stop moving when you face them, but I can't even hardly make this jump here. It's awful. One of the worst games I've played in a while for either Famicom or NES. This is a much better game. This is Mario Open Golf, and this is one of the best golf games on the NES, or on the Famicom in this case. And this is Japanese. Does include the Japanese course, Japan course. It does not include the U.S. course. But it's pretty great. It's a fun game and really hard. Here is another game I want to show you. This is River City Ransom, which is great. This is a classic game. Obviously, a really fun beat 'em up for the NES, and it's interesting. I love the graphic design. I love the sprite work that they use in this game. It's a lot of fun. You have these different weapons and kind of like a Double Dragon style game. One to definitely check out. But overall, there's other settings as well. So you can kind of show you like autosave and whatever. And here's a menu, the manual you have to scan for. But that's overall a view of the menu in some games. So in conclusion, what do I think about the Mini Family Computer? I'll start with the positives. I like the fact that it's in HD. It plays in 720. I like the filters. You can add the scan lines. I think that's really cool. There's save states, which is sweet. And it's very easy to navigate. Very similar and almost identical to the Mini NES Classic. So if you have a Mini NES Classic, the menu system is all pretty much the same. The music, everything's the same. I think the game choices are overall decent. I think the games, for me, I can relate more to the ones released on the Mini NES Classic, opposed to some of these are exclusive to Japan. I'd never played before. Some of them kind of seem odd to me, but I'm sure to the Japanese fan, I'm sure they're great, all great games. So basically, on the positive, it's great that it's in 720. I like the size. I like the fact that the design, I think I give Nintendo an A+ on the design. It is 60% smaller than the original Famicom, and it looks great. I think displays really well. As a negative thing, I think there's two big ones. Obviously, what stands out are the controllers are way too small. I have huge hands, I'll give you that. I ginormous hands, but even for the normal size hands, these things are really uncomfortable to use. The cords are extremely short, even though they're longer than the Mini NES Classic cords for the controller. They're still really, really short. And dude, why does it not come with an AC wall plug-in? What's the deal with that? You have USB, so I'm assuming maybe they think that maybe you can use your phone charger, or they do sell them on the side, I believe, but that's ridiculous. Even the Mini NES Classic came with a wall charger. This thing does not. So they give you a controller, second controller, which is great, but there's no wall charger. There also is no microphone on the controller 2, which would have been sweet. There is no additional plug-in for any controllers up front, which is kind of to be expected. But yeah, disappointing. I think the wall charger to me is just weird that they wouldn't include that. It's not a deal breaker for me, but it's just odd, and it seems very cheap that that was not included. I think that's just like a given. When you're buying systems, you need a way to plug them into the wall. Otherwise, I guess you can plug it into your computer or however you want to do it, but just seems odd to me. So overall, it's decent. I prefer the Mini NES Classic just because that's what I grew up on, but this is a really cool display unit. It's really, I enjoy playing the games for sure, and it's just a really cool collector's item overall. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below. Thank you always for subscribing. I appreciate that. Thank you for liking this video. That means a lot. We'll see you guys soon. Take care and game on. First off, guys, thank you so much for watching. Also, please subscribe. That means a lot. And if you want to stay in contact, you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I also have a website, Gamester81.com, and I have t-shirts available that help support the show as well. And those are available at chopchopgoods.com.